So Sony tells you that you don't need backwards compatibility, it takes away from new games, you don't really want it, it's not really what gamers want, and then you see Modern Warfare 2 topping sales charts in 2018. And then you see Sony selling a PlayStation Classic console with 20 games for $100 that doesn't come with an AC adapter. I have heard nothing but bad things about PlayStation's streaming service for old PS3 and PS2 games. I've heard multiple YouTubers and friends of mine say it's just not any good. Although it is cool now that you can download the PS4 and PS2 games you get from PS Now, it's still something you have to pay for, and I don't fully consider it to be backwards compatibility. I've never used it, so if you have a positive experience with the PlayStation streaming service for old games, then that's great. But it's funny that PlayStation doesn't want to give their players backwards compatibility on the PS4 so they can play their favorite PS3, PS2, and maybe even PS1 games. No, that's out of the question, but when it comes down to playing 20 on a proprietary preloaded console that again does not ship with an AC adapter, well, that's just fine. Ship that bitch out for $100. Sony's basically admitting, we didn't have a problem with old games, we had a problem with you playing old games without paying us money. And the big game everyone's talking about on the PlayStation Classic is Final Fantasy VII. The problem is that game's been on Steam for a very long time, and it's an excellent version of the game. And the controller this comes with is very classic, not even including analog sticks. Some people have already pointed out that this limits the amount of games that this thing can run. I'm pretty sure there were a lot of very famous PS1 games that had to have the analog sticks. At least the PlayStation games I had growing up, like Crash Team Racing, needed the analog sticks, so who knows. At the beginning of this generation, PlayStation nailed graphics and hardware when it came to the console market, and PlayStation is now kicking ass when it comes to exclusives, and that's awesome for gamers in general, honestly. And the PS4 Pro, it's not as great as the Xbox One X power-wise, but has those exclusives, which for a lot of people makes up the difference, and it's cheaper, so fair enough. But I don't know where I'd be on my Xbox without backwards compatibility. It makes my library so much bigger, and there's so many games that I haven't tried out yet that I get to. I mean, I have the entire Gears of War franchise on my Xbox. I have all of the Call of Duties ever released on 360 and Xbox One on my Xbox One X. Not to mention one of my favorite games to play with friends, Toy Soldiers Cold War. And when it comes to games I want to drop some money on, backwards compatible games are generally cheaper, and I can just grab like games like Sonic CD or, I don't know, Toy Story 3 the game or Dead Space or something along those lines, and I can pick something up quickly and cheaply. Now really what you're getting with this is about $5 a game for 20 games. That's not terrible, and some of these games aren't available on Steam or any other platform, so that's great. And for collectors, this is fucking awesome. If I had money to just throw at things, then I'd probably get an SNES Classic or an NES Classic, because they have more games, they're cheaper, and they don't, have separate AC adapters I have to buy. But really though, I wouldn't mind having this thing. I think it's a cool little device, and it has a niche market, and I understand that. I'm not here to shit all over this little thing. I do think it's a bit steep in its pricing, because like $100 for PS1 games, plus however much the AC adapter is, and plus tax in some areas, you're basically buying 2 full AAA games, but you're only getting 20 PS1 games. And the reason I'm saying only 20 games, when 20 games is no small feat, I don't think everyone's going to love every game on this console. The only ones that really jump out at me are Final Fantasy VII and Ridge Racer Type 4. I can live without Ridge Racer Type 4, and Final Fantasy VII is on Steam, and I own that, so I don't know, for the third of a price of a Switch, I think you should just save up and buy a Switch. But either way, it's cool, it's collectible. It's just funny that it's coming out of PlayStation, when PlayStation has just not been kind to the idea of playing old games. And that's what I said earlier. They don't have a problem with you playing old games as long as you pay for them. If this announcement was PlayStation 1 backwards compatibility on PS4, or maybe a 20 game compilation disc for PS4 that allows you to play a ton of old games, and Final Fantasy VII could be on there, and Ridge Racer and Jumping Force and Wild Arms and all that, I think that would be a great announcement. I can see a lot of people spending $50 to $60 on a PS1 compilation disc. I think that'd be really cool. but instead you have to spend $100 on a proprietary little mini console, and I don't think that's as cool when it comes to what you're getting. Again, collectors that collect this kind of stuff are going to love it, but collectors that love a type of thing will collect it no matter what, whether it's rare Lego minifigures, or old technology, or books, or instruction manuals, or bottle caps. I'm talking as a gamer, spending money to play games. I don't think this is very pro-consumer, and I just wanted to talk about it. And I'm probably gonna get shit on for talking about it in the way that I am. It's just funny, PlayStation basically saying, you don't want to play those old games, who cares about old games, you don't need backwards compatibility, if you really need to, you can use our streaming service, and, you know, just don't worry about that. And then, like, by the way, $100, 20 games, going once, going twice, going for everyone that said that backwards compatibility was a stupid unnecessary feature. But if you wanted to catch up on the Dead Space series, or Assassin's Creed, or Call of Duty, or Gears of War, or play a lot of those arcade games you bought on 360 a long time ago, the Xbox One is a great place for that. And for that to just be a little added feature on top of the Xbox One being a, you know, big AAA console, it's like, that's nice. And the fact that we have 4K enhanced original Xbox backwards compatibility titles is really cool, especially since I can buy them from the online store. That's crazy. I can go on and buy Destroy All Humans for like $5, and it'll be bumped to a 4K resolution. Or if I have the Destroy All Humans disc, I can just slide that bitch in as well. And the last thing I want to throw in here is that not every PlayStation fan is against backwards compatibility. Not every PlayStation fan is a hypocrite or anything like that. No, communities are full of individuals. I'm not going to say PlayStation fans don't like backwards compatibility and yet they're going to buy this. Like, that's stupid. That would be completely intellectually dishonest with you guys, and I'm not going to do that. I think it's funny for Sony as a company to not give PlayStation fans backwards compatibility on their PS4s and then release something like this for a pretty outrageous price, if you ask me. I mean, $5 a game isn't bad, but what if you don't like all the games on there? What if you only want like 4 of them? $100 seems a little steep. Again, talking as a gamer, not a collector. So anyway, hope you guys understand that, and hope you guys see where I'm coming from. And if you guys don't want me to ever talk about things outside of my platform again, I won't. I'll just keep my mouth shut because my opinion doesn't matter, because I don't have the new Spider-Man game and I'm bitter. Whatever. See you when I see ya. Goodbye.